In this video, we're going to set up a new traverse line. So I'm going to go click on this button right here, New Hardness Test Series, and you'll see it adds to the screen right here. And I have crosshairs where I can rotate either side of it. And the left-right arrow, it doesn't let you rotate up and down, it just lets you pull left and right to add or decrease the number of indents. And all I need to do is really click around these dots and I can just move it around the screen. So I'm going to drop it down here and I'm going to bring my field of view into this area that I went to and double click. Now I'm going to line up the edge just like that. And okay, so we are right here. So I can click on this and it's going to take me to a detailed menu, or since this is the only line, I could march down this menu and program it, but I'm going to click into here to go show you the detailed menu. So we have options right here. Right now we have 5 indents. I can take that down to 3. This area here is the distance from the edge to the first indent, so I'm going to change that to 0.5. This is the space between indents, so I'll just change that to 0.5. And here we have offset between the indents. I'm going to change that to 0.5 as well, just to illustrate what we have going on. After this area, it's very similar to what we walked through with setting up a single indent point. We can toggle between our points. We can save our focus if it's not a plain sample. We have our ignore planned status, and I've indented but I need to take a measurement status. Here we can set the load and the dwell time, our scale, and we're going to record this at 50x with an autofocus. And we get down to our report functions, and here is the heat map. So I'm going to set the max of 1500. And what this is going to do, after we run the program, these open circles are going to be filled in diamonds, and the color of the diamond is going to reflect this scale here. Harder being red, softer being blue. Here we have coordinates for our traverse line. So as I move this around, you can see the XY position change. And the rotation, I can change this. If I put 0, we're going to make it more of a straight line. You know, I can make it 45 degrees, put it back to 0. Here is the lock button. So if I don't want to be able to click on here, you see I lost my crosshairs and my left-right button. So now I can't click it, I can't even drag it around. And it's also locked, it's anchored to the sample right now. If I click this button, it'll start moving around with my field of view. So let me just put that back where it was and lock it. So we have our settings all set. What we're going to do is we're going to go flip through and preview each point. So now I'm on point number 2, and I might be too close to this, so I can actually just click it and move it slightly off its path to a safer area. And I'm also going to just flip to my 50x, jump down into this field of view, and just do a little focus first. And we'll do an autofocus. All right. So with that, we are set to run the program. We can see it plans on making 3 indentations, 3 images to capture, and 3 measurements with our status bar down here and a stop button if we need to stop the program. And if we go back to our live image here, we can see the different colors based on the heat map of the results. And just like the single indent, we can go down, we can look at a preview photo of each result. We can go to the graph, we can set up some max and min. We can change the color. And we can go to our auto-generated report and see our preview image and our results. Now, one thing we can do if we click into this menu, we didn't talk about this green button here, and what this does is it copies what you have and it calls each one a segment. We've just added another segment to our traverse that is a copy of our first one. Now we can go into each point and we can change the settings. We could run this one at 0.5 and we could record it at a different objective with or without autofocus, and we could run just those 3 points from here as well. So the segment feature is nice. You can, this red button, you can delete each segment. You can change all the parameters and make each segment different from each other. And then if we went up here, we could just run the program just for that segment. We can run through points 4, 5, and 6 to make sure there's nothing in the way. So that's good. Except for this one, maybe we'll move this one a little bit. And we can hit go. So here we are on the graph again, and we still have one series but with 2 segments, so now we have more points on the line. So let's go look at this one. Instead of doing a manual correction, we can also push this button here to recapture and remeasure the indent. And then I'm taken to this menu, which is the parameters for the single indent point here. Now I'm going to click off just so you can see that the diamond is open and not filled in anymore, but now my menu changed, so to get back to that I have to click twice. And from here I can look at the settings. I'm set to measure, and I can't change any of the indent settings because that's already been performed, but I can change the objective that I record at if I want to toggle on or off the autofocus, or I could go over here to the more advanced settings and I can update those for my reread. And I can just hit start from here, or I can start from here. And you can see here we're not doing any indentations. We have one image to capture and one measurement to take. Now you can see we have one with no errors on it. So we have our 2-segment traverse. If I click on the line, we go back to the detailed menu. And just to run through a few of the buttons we haven't discussed yet, the button up here with the plus sign is copy. So now we have a new version of it in a different color. And if we do that on accident, we can click on one of the lines and we can hit this delete button. And this is the program start button. And down at the bottom, if we go back into our detail menu by clicking on the line, if we go down to the bottom, there's this pencil. And here is where you can change the color of the line, make that blue. We can make the line thicker, and we can show some text. This is a little toggle to show or unshow text. This is a preview for when you change fonts and size and underline. And here's where you can name this to something that is more appropriate. And scrolling back up to the segment detail, you can also rename your segments. And the other button we didn't talk about was next to the green button or red button when you activate the segments, there is this hardness button. And what this will let you do, you see there's a question mark 3. This is going to overwrite all the parameters for that segment. So you're going to set all 3 points to the same settings if you change things here. And remember, you can have different settings for each point, but if you click this button or this button at the segment level, this will override any work that you've done on an individual point. And with that, I think we've covered all the buttons on the traverse line.